The first scream doesn't sound human. It shreds through the night like metal twisting against bone. Then comes the silence, heavier than the sound itself. You check the window. The street is empty except for the flicker of one dying streetlight. Something has already gone wrong. Subscribe to Think What If for more stories that push your imagination to the edge. At first, it spread online. A few videos of people collapsing in subways, their eyes milky white. A headline about a lab breach in a private biotech facility near Geneva. Then another in Lagos. Then silence, digital blackout, feed frozen, eyes everywhere, but no answers. It isn't fiction anymore. Some scientists call it a mutated rhabdovirus, a cousin of rabies. Others whisper about Toxoplasma gondii, the mind-altering parasite that already lives in millions of us, just waiting for genetic instructions to shift its behavior from mild manipulation to violent control. You can smell ozone and disinfectant in the air as governments quietly burn contaminated sites. What if the end doesn't start with the dead rising, but with the living losing control? You remember the first rule: distance equals time. Distance buys choices.
We have to move it!
I am, but it's too heavy. We need more help.
But where do you run when roads jam and cities choke? Urban collapse won't look like explosions. It'll look like silent supermarkets stripped to bone-white shelves, faucets coughing rust, drones circling above like patient vultures. This isn't the apocalypse that movies promised. No heroes, no cure. Only systems falling one relay at a time. Are you ready for when the grid hum you've lived beneath your whole life just stops? You'll need skills, not luck. Forget aimless survival camps. Think of immediate, tactile knowledge. How to stitch a wound without anesthesia. How to purify water using a metal pot and crushed charcoal. How to start a fire in the rain without drawing eyes from predators, humans, or infected. Every skill you learn stacks seconds onto your life. You can almost feel that weight now, building inside your hands. It's power, real, quiet power. The kind that keeps a flame alive through a world trying to smother it. Remember this: you never fight the dead. You fight entropy. But then there's gear that breathes, seals, and hides you from detection. A good mask, not the kind you find in a drugstore, but a full filtration respirator, because if a real pathogen caused this, it wouldn't rise from graves, it would drift on air. You keep a tarp, cord, multi-tool, water bladder, iodine tablets. Everything lightweight, nothing loud. Loud gets you hunted. Someone once said, survival isn't about stockpiling things, it's about stockpiling decisions. You pack what you would bleed to keep. What's in your bag right now? Could you carry your life on your back if the world vanished tonight? Reality cuts sharper when you realize we're closer to this than we think. There are viruses edited under fluorescent light that can bypass immune defenses in minutes. There are fungi like Ophiocordyceps that control ants, steering them to climb and spread spores from their dying bodies. Scientists have resurrected frozen pathogens from Siberian permafrost, long locked under ice, now melting faster each year. It's not fantasy, it's research, published and peer-reviewed. So what happens when knowledge outpaces wisdom? When curiosity forgets the price of its own reflection? You start to imagine the first days of collapse. Traffic lined to the horizon, horns blaring uselessly, people walking between cars clutching children or dogs. The air is thick with exhaust and panic. You escape the city's edge, trading noise for wind. Out here, you can hear your own heartbeat again. But fear tastes different when it's yours alone. Have you ever felt the world get too quiet? Quiet enough that your own breathing sounds foreign? That happens now. You realize silence isn't peace. It's absence. And in that absence, logistics matter more than courage. You plan supply routes, not destinations. You map streams, wells, hidden cabins. You ration calories like currency. You count what you can't replace: batteries, antibiotics, trust. Every day becomes math, a world run by equations: distance to water, calories burned per climb, sleep traded for vigilance. Humans are adaptive, but adaptation has a cost. How many days until your empathy feels like a liability? Maybe you find others. Small groups form fast. Shared fear breeds fragile alliances. You trade stories at fire's edge, voices low, each word trembling like the flame itself. Some people will lead through hope, some through cruelty. Which one would you follow? The infection isn't just in bloodstreams anymore. It's in thought, in rumor, in the way someone stares too long before speaking. Distrust becomes natural selection. You start seeing humanity peel away layer by layer until what's left might still breathe but no longer belong to yesterday. Still, humans build systems even in chaos. You mark perimeters with twine and tin cans. You rotate night watches. You collect rain in plastic sheets stretched over crates. You repurpose tools meant for convenience into tools for life. Kitchen knives turn survival blades. Mirrors turn signaling devices. Every object finds new meaning when the world forgets its old one. You build a rhythm, and in that rhythm you forget for a moment that this could be forever. Then a scream splits the night again. The same sound as before, the sound that started everything. You run toward it because you have to know. That's what separates thinking from surviving. Curiosity still lives in you like a flickering nerve. You find a figure, not quite alive yet, not dead enough. Infectious lesions crawl under the skin like moving light. Their eyes search you with something between hunger and memory. There's a flash of recognition that maybe they know you. Maybe the virus remembers who they were. Would you end them, knowing they might still be inside there, screaming silently to be seen? What would mercy look like now? Scientists theorized something like this before it began. In labs modeling neurological pathogens, they discovered that some viruses amplify aggression and diminish fear responses. A brain reprogrammed not to die quietly, but to spread. Survival instincts without empathy. The perfect biological weapon, one that uses our most ancient drive against us. No missiles, no control, just replication. Somewhere, a human made this choice. Somewhere, another human paid for it. If knowledge built the monster, can knowledge also kill it? Time stretches in survival. Days blur into perpetual alertness. The smell of smoke, the grit of ash in your teeth, the constant echo of scavenging footsteps become your new normal. You mark each dawn not by date, but by what's left to eat. You notice how easily hunger rewrites morality. Once you would pity the desperate. Now you understand them. The infection outside mirrors a smaller one growing inside, the erosion of certainty. How long can you remain yourself before survival consumes you completely? There's a place people speak of, a safe zone, far north, where infection dies in cold air. Maybe it's real, maybe a myth. You move towards it anyway, because direction is survival's oxygen. Along the way, you see new societies forming among the ruins. Farmers with rifles guarding greenhouses under broken satellites. Children trading batteries for stories. Scientists turned scavengers trying to reverse what they once unleashed. Even here, under the shadow of extinction, people innovate. Is that hope or defiance? 3 words echo through your mind. The same 3 that have driven you since the first scream. Stay human. Stay human. Stay human. Each repetition sounds less like a command and more like a prayer. You cling to it as the landscape changes from abandoned suburbs to tundra scarred by frozen lab debris. One night, under a sky so clear it hurts to look at, you find an old research outpost. Inside, vials still hum under flickering lights. Logbooks detail the pathogen's origin as a hybrid of rabies, influenza, and fungal neural vectors. The handwriting stops mid-sentence. A fingerprint smudge finishes the story. As dawn breaks, you realize that survival was never just about living. It was about witnessing, about carrying forward the memory of what humanity chose and what it became. You step outside, the air colder, cleaner. Behind you, the building creaks, its stories locked in frost. Maybe the world can heal, given time. Maybe it can't. But you know this much. You've learned how fragile civilization really is, and how fierce it feels to still be breathing in its ruins. You look toward the horizon, where sun meets ice, and whisper to yourself one last command. Stay human. Subscribe to Think What If for more worlds you should never forget.